Welcome to 𝗏𝗏 and welcome to the part 2 of General Mycology. So we are going to discuss about some general aspects of fungus which are applied to all the fungi, right? So see here, first of all, if I talk for the reproduction, fungus can either reproduce by forming the sexual spores or the asexual spores. So fungus produces spores, asexual spores or sexual spores. And coming on to the lab diagnosis, remember that we always have to look for the fungal elements, alright, in the microscopy, and there are different stains by which you see the fungus under microscope like KOH Mount, Gomori Methenamine Silver stain, GMS stain, lactophenol cotton blue 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗵 stain, fluorescent stain, alright. So there's a very famous movie and I am sure that you have got a huge love for that movie, KGF, yes. K for KOH Mount, G for GMS stain, F for fluorescent stain, also called as chalcofluor white, and from this F you can remember fungus also, right, and L is love and 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗵 stain. But some things are very important, that 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗵 is only for cultured specimen. So the specimens which can be L for cultured, 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗵 you do for them only. Coming on to the classification of fungi, please remember that there is a systemic classification based upon the sexual state or sexual spores. So you have got Ascomycetes which have ascospores. You have Basidiomycetes on the basis of basidiospores. You have Zygomycetes on the basis of zygospores. Deuteromycetes, that is not having any sexual state. So my dear friends, ascospores are belonging to Ascomycetes, basidiospores to Basidiomycetes, Zygomycetes, zygospores, Deuteromycetes, they don't have any sexual state as such. But Deuteromycetes are also called as fungi imperfecti. Now, there is another classification which is called as morphological classification. I've told you that yeast is the unicellular one, mold is the multicellular one, and there is something which is called as yeast-like fungi called as Candida albicans. So, if some fungi is unicellular, it lives in the morphology called as yeast cell, whereas if somebody is multicellular, they try to live in the form of a mold, and a mold forms this type of structure. This filamentous structure is called as hyphae, right? For example, yeast unicellular is Cryptococcus. And you know very well, coccus means a goal, a round. So see, yeast is just like that. Whereas mold multicellular is going to be 𝗏𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏. Whereas let's understand about one more, that is pseudo-hyphae producers. So pseudo-hyphae means what? So for example, this is the yeast. And of course, for reproduction, they are going to form buds. Now actually what happens is, after the bud is matured, it is going to get cut off from the original parent cell and it has got its independent survival. But for example, if this bud does not shed off and grows and another bud, all these buds are coming, this is going to form a pseudo-hyphae. That's not a hyphae but a pseudo-hyphae that is produced by Candida. So very simple, pseudo-Candida. So da and do, these both are very important words, right? And mold, of course, is 𝗏𝗵𝗵𝗏 because you should know your Ma, M for multicellular, A for 𝗏𝗵𝗵𝗏. And yeast, the unicellular, Cryptococcus, coccus means small, round, goal, and this like that. Clinical classification, now based upon the clinical symptoms, fungus is of different types. For example, superficial mycosis, that's going to cause the superficial infections. Then comes cutaneous mycosis, that is responsible for causing the cutaneous mycosis. the skin infections. Then subcutaneous, obviously going to go to subcutaneous layer. Deep fungus infections like systemic mycosis and opportunistic mycosis. I'll give you some examples when we will discuss each and everything in detail. Like opportunistic mycosis, 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 is one of the opportunistic fungus. Alright. Then subcutaneous has an example of sporothrix. Systemic mycosis, for example, histoplasma. Superficial mycosis as in 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺. Cutaneous mycosis, dermatophytes. So these are all the examples, one of each. And this important concept again, dimorphic fungus means dual appearance. That means some can exist in yeast and mold, but not at the same time. At one particular temperature, they will be mold, and in one particular temperature, they will be in yeast. Like for example, mold resembles with cold. So if the temperature is cool, like 25 degree, so they will grow as the mold form, whereas yeast is similar to heat. So wherever the temperature is heat, so they are going to grow as yeast, right? For example, in tissues, the temperature is hot, so they are going to grow as yeast. Can you see T and T coming together? Yes. And in environment, they are going to be in a mold form. So what are the different examples? Examples are histoplasma capsulatum, systemic mycosis, Penicillium marnifi, sporothrix. That is an example of subcutaneous mycosis. So basically, you have got three examples, STS. One S is systemic mycosis. Then you have got other examples like sporothrix, which is an example of subcutaneous mycosis. STSP, you can remember P for Penicillium marnifi. So the mnemonic is SPS, not the STS, right? So all these are the examples. Now we will have a look on important stuff that is called as systemic mycosis. That is also called as endemic mycosis because it is limited to a single geographical area. And the examples of systemic mycosis are going to be histoplasma capsulatum, blastomycosis or blastomyces, Paracoccidioides brasiliensis and Coccidioides immitis. So you have got histoplasma capsulatum, blastomycosis dermatitis, Paracoccidioides brasiliensis and Coccidioides immitis. So histoplasma capsulatum is present in India. It is also called as Darling's disease because it is going to mimic TB. Actually, it is called Darling's disease because Darling is the name of the microbiologist. Darling's disease. Histoplasma capsulatum mimics TB. And remember, it is an intracellular yeast in the macrophage. So this black one is a macrophage and the red one in the middle is the intracellular yeast. And they have got a trabeculate conidia. Can you see this conidia? There are trabeculations present on the conidia. So trabeculated serrations are going to be present. So histoplasma is present in India. It is called as Darling's disease. It mimics TB. It is an intracellular yeast in the macrophage and it has got trabeculated conidia, right? So very simple, Darling's disease. Who is the darling? India is the darling, right? And who is common in India? TB. T for TB, T for trabeculation, right? And I for India, I for intracellular, okay? So this is the mnemonic for histoplasma. Coming on to blastomycosis. So blastomyces. So blastomyces is in the America. Which America? North America. Which America? North America. So B has A very close. So A for America, right? And B has got B, that is the broad base, okay? B has got B, that is the broad based budding yeast. Broad based budding yeast which is there. Coming on to the next one, that is paracoccidioids. So paracoccidioids, unlike blastomycosis, it is in the South America because you know P, Q, R, S, P and S coming together. So paracoccidioids in the South America, and P for it has got pilot wheel shape, right? Pilot wheel shape. And if P is coming, remember my name, L has to come together. And what is there in L? L for Lutz mycosis. So it is also called as which mycosis? 𝗲𝗵⁴ that's important. Okay, clear? And this pilot wheel, sometimes pilot wheel might look like a Mickey Mouse. So it is having the Mickey Mouse appearance also. Mickey Mouse appearance also. Coming on to coccidioids, the last but very important topic, coccidioids. So remember, coccidioids are also not present in India, but they are responsible for having two things. One, can you see C and S are phonetically similar? So one, they are having spherules within the endospores. So these are the endospores, and spores have small kids known as spherules. So they have got spherules. Can you see here? Spherules are there, number one. Second is S for San-Joaquin Valley fever. San-Joaquin Valley fever. So S for San-Joaquin Valley fever. And you know, C is also very close to D. So D for desert rheumatism. D for which rheumatism? Desert rheumatism, which is going to be there. And now C and D are coming. So let us call A and B also. What is A and B? So A for Anthroconidia, that means joint spores. Anthro means joint. Sorry, arthro. This is not anthro, this is arthro. So arthro means joint. Joint spores are going to be there. And B means both. Now B means both means what? Both coccidioids and paracoccidioids are absent in India. They are not found in India. So paracoccidioids and coccidioids are not present in India. And yes, of course, A and B is true, because for all the organisms we have discussed, the treatment of choice is amphotericin B, or one more you have to remember, that is itraconazole. It is going to be which one? Itraconazole. So this is the end of the general mycology. Thank you so much for watching, and yes, thank you for being with us and watching our lectures throughout. See you in the next session. Thank you.